Hello and welcome everyone to iVS training. We're going to start by going over the VEDP website and looking at the site selection tool and the new certified site section and the partner resources section, which is where you can go to get the data sheets and the link to log in to iVS. So we're going to start with site selection, and the first thing you're going to see there is the certified sites. This is all of the business ready sites or any other certification program. They are highlighted on the website. Um, so it's in addition to the business ready sites, we have AEP quality sites, Dominion data center sites, and AEP data center sites along with some other certified sites. And then the second thing under the site selection is the sites and building search. That's going to bring up the site selection tool. And as you can see, it defaults to the map of all of the properties in Virginia. You can zoom in and out, and the list will change based on where you're zooming in. You can click on any point and it'll bring up an image and some basic information on the property. If you click on the property name, it will open it up and bring up the data sheet. And first you're going to see there, you're going to see there is the overview, and then after that it's the typical specifications section, utilities, transportation. Supporting information is where any files, photos, links, um, comments, any of that information will appear there. And then we have the community section, which has a little brief overview of the community and links to the community profiles. Then we have the drive time map. We have a 30, 45, and 60-minute drive time from the property. And then we have some population and workforce information for with those drive times for the different types of workers that might be associated with that property, as well as some information on colleges and universities and community colleges and the unemployment rate. And then the last section is the potential state incentives, which is kind of similar to what we had before. If you click on the link button up at the top, you can copy and paste the link directly to that property into an email or a document. If you click on the button next to that, it's going to download a PDF property report. And then if you click on the star, it's going to add that property to the compare list. Okay, the filters will let you do some additional filtering of your properties. You can either choose sites land or one of the building types. We'll go ahead and choose sites land, and then you'll see that the size requirements and transportation and some other features are there for you to search on. So we'll go ahead and do a search for less than 5 miles to a highway. And we're going to close that. And then if you click on the star, you'll be able to compare the properties. And if you click on the compare link, you can pull those up side by side. You can download a PDF or you can download a spreadsheet of those compare properties. From over here, if you want to get to the property data sheet, you just click on the little I and that'll open up the property data sheet for that property. And then the little icon here will zoom you into that property on the map. So that's kind of a quick overview of the new site selection tool. And we're going to go back now to the main VEDP website, and if we scroll all the way to the bottom in the footer, there's a link for partner resources, and you should find most of the same information here that you found on the old Virginia Allies website. We have the marketing resources database, and then Sites and Buildings Resources. And if you click on the iVS link, that will take you to the iVS login window. The Sites and Buildings data sheets is where you'll get the data sheets that people can fill out to submit their properties to you. You can also access the community profiles and the local ROI here, and the Business Ready Sites program and the Virginia Brownfields Fund information is here as well. So we're going to go ahead and close this out now and go into iVS. And we're going to start with create a property. So to create a property, you're just going to click on the Start Here button. You can choose either a site or a building. If you choose building, it'll bring up the different building types, and so you can select the building type that you want. So we'll go ahead and do a site, and we'll just call it test site. I'm just going to enter all of the information here. And then we're going to hit next, and it's going to bring us up to the map. And as you can see, it has put a point here where it thinks the property is. So we are just going to drag the point for, we're doing a site for a site. Rather than putting the point in the middle of the site, you want to put it where the closest highway access is, whatever the street is that's going to serve the building. And that will help the GIS system to accurately calculate distances to interstates and four-lane roads and airports and the like. So I'm going to put the point right here at the entrance, and then I'm going to click on Save. And then I am going to select my site boundary. First I have to click on Select Parcels for Site Boundary, and then I'm just going to click this one here, but you can add as many as you want. So I'm going to say we're done. So we're going to, you can add a note about the site boundary if you need to, and then we're just going to click Complete and Save. Alright, and we're going to hit Next. And that's going to bring up the property details. And since we are entering a new site, the first thing we're going to want to do is go over here to Available and click that to Yes. Then from there, we're just going to fill out the data is basically the same as what was in the old system. So you're just going to kind of go through and select or type in whatever information you need to type. One thing that's new for the new iVS is that you have the ability to add a secondary broker. So, and all of the fields with an asterisk are required. So we'll just kind of go through the rest of these on the Site tab. You can see the required fields for acreage and zoning. A new field for sites is pad ready, and you can get to the definition for that under the Resources menu. There's a glossary document there. Then we have topography that's required, and the certifications, and those fields are admin only. So if you, other than the Business Ready Sites program, which VEDP manages, if your site qualifies for one of these other programs, if you send us the documentation for that, we can get that set up for you. Utilities is basically the same as before. You can see the asterisk again denotes the required fields. One thing that's new here is the distance to fiber is now required, and there's actually a tool that you can use to determine if fiber is close to the property or not, and if you just shoot us an email, we can send you that. For transportation, most of the transportation information is calculated by GIS now. So for a new property, the only thing you're going to need to enter for highways is the name or the route number of the highway or street serving the property, and that is a required field. For rail, you'll have to enter that, and we are requiring now that that you provide some kind of documentation that the site can be served by rail. It doesn't have to be an engineering report or anything that the rail provider has to do, just basically a letter or an email stating that they're confident that the site can be served by rail. The port information and the airport information is also generated by GIS. And then we have comments, and to create a comment you're just going to click on the create button. You can have as many comments as you want, and you probably want to have more comments rather than less, rather than doing a long paragraph comment. Kind of break things down maybe by infrastructure or transportation features of the property or whatever, so that it'll be highlighted better on the public site. So you can enter whatever you want to enter here in your comments. If it's something that you want to put in that just as a reminder for you, or a note or something that you want VEDP to be aware of for the property, you can click this internal use to yes, and then it will only show up in the iVS system. It won't show up anywhere publicly. And then once you're done, you just hit save. The supporting information, you can upload photos and images, documents, which is basically PDF files, and new here is links. So if you have a YouTube video of the property, or the property has a website, you can use that. Here you can create a link. The photos and images and the documents, the file size max is 5 megabytes. And when you do add a photo or an image, particularly for the images, you're going to want to select the display order. You want to make sure that the picture that you want to be the prominent picture that's going to show up on the property data sheet, on the PDF download file, and it'll also show up over here on the left. Whichever one you select as display order 1 is the one that's going to show up there. So you want to make sure that you only assign one property to that display order, or one photo to that display order of 1. So once we are finished, for a new property you do have to hit save first. So we're going to hit save, and it'll tell us that it was successfully saved, and then we're going to hit submit, and you'll see I didn't enter any information here, so it's going to pop up and tell us all of the required fields that we need to go back and populate. So if you miss a required field when you're filling it out, this should help you determine which field it is that you need to do. So okay, we're going to go back to the home page. You can go to the home page at any time by clicking on the VEDP logo. These next 3 tabs up here are the available, the sites, and the buildings. Available is just going to give you a quick view of all the available properties. Sites is going to give you a quick view of all the available sites that are assigned to you, and buildings is going to give you a quick overview, a quick view of all the buildings that are assigned to you. Submitted and saved is where you can find any properties that you submitted or saved. If you're entering a property and you find that you don't have a required piece of information, you can save that property for later, and this is where you would go to find that. You can also see properties that have been submitted for approval. And the updated in last 30 days is just a quick view of all the properties that have been updated in the last 30 days. The updating needed is where you can go to see all your properties that haven't been updated in 6 months. It's a quick way to access those. And then the key indicators. This is basically the dashboards that were in the old iVS. They just look a lot better. So the first one is going to be the property views, and you can see the last 12 months or the by year. Then we have the most viewed properties, and right now this is showing all of the properties. You can break it down by the different property types, and it's showing right now the last 30 days. You can also change the time frame on that to last 6 months year to date or the previous year. The industry views, it's going to show you the types of industries that have been looking at your properties. And that also defaults to last 30 days. So let's go to previous year, and we'll see the different industries. The industries and the locations, which we're going to see in a minute, are updated once a month. And this data pulls from Virginia Scan, any My Virginia Scan sites that are associated, and then the Port Authority's website as well, because they also use our system. And it filters out government, education, ISPs, things like that. So it should be a pretty accurate count of the types of different industries that are looking at your properties. And then the property views by locations works kind of the same way, and it'll show you the different states that have been looking, and then the different countries that have been looking at your properties. And then if it's something within inside Virginia, then it'll show that down here as well, the county or city that's been looking at your properties. Okay, we're going to click on the VEDP logo again to go back to the home page. The quick search is the next thing we're going to go over. If you know the address of the property, you can enter that in, and it's a quick way to pull up the property. You can also search by ID. This is just the system generated unique ID for each property, which you probably won't use that much. And then you can also do it by name. So if you know the name of the property, you can enter that there, and it's a quick way to access your properties. Okay, next we're going to go over the search. It's going to default to sites, and you can enter the largest contiguous acreage. If you're looking for pad ready sites, you can click on that. You can select any of the certification programs if you're looking for that, or if you select any, it'll bring back anything. And then if you've had sites characterized, but they're not actually, they weren't a tier 4 or 5, but you want to see which ones have been characterized and what tier level they are, you can go in and you can search for the different tier levels to see all of your tier 1 sites, tier 2, etc. On the general tab, if you need to make a property active again when it's been listed as not available, so you want to make it available again, this is if you don't use the quick search and find it that way, then you can go here, and if you just select unavailable, then that'll bring back all of the unavailable properties by type. So it would be for sites, which is what we're doing now. If you want to search for publicly owned or brownfield, you can click there. The different incentive zones, you can select those. If you want to see all of the properties that are associated with a particular broker or a particular broker company, you can click on those drop downs. If you're looking for something really unique, you can that you think something might be in the comments, you can add that in the comment. And then the same goes for zoning. If you're looking for a particular zoning, you can enter that there. For the transportation section, these are all pre-populated now, so you have 5, 10, 30, 60, or 100 miles. You can either search for interstate interchange, or you can search for the interstate 4-lane if you don't think you're going to find a interstate within that distance. The same for commercial and general airport and port. They're all the same distance. If you need a property that's rail served, you just click that. And then the waterway, the channel depth is going to be, it's going to be like a river or something that large barges and ships can come into, and there's very few of those properties available in Virginia. For utilities, if you need to search for the utilities, you can just drop down. On site means on site. Then we have 500, 1,000, 5,000, or 10,000 feet that you can search for. So we'll just put in an acreage here and see what we get back. So once you do your search, you'll get back a list of properties that match the search criteria. If you want to see what you searched for, you can click up here on search criteria, and it'll show you what the criteria was that you used for that search. You can view or edit the property from here. You can also select properties that you want to send to somebody or that you want to download reports for, and you just click the include button for the ones that you want. And when you do that, if you click on view selected, you'll only see the ones that you've clicked the include button for. You'll see there are a bunch of little icons here. We'll go to one that has several. So the little flame is natural gas. This one is public water on site. The grate is public sewer. This one is fiber. If it had a navigable waterway, there would be an icon with an anchor. And if it was rail served, let's see if I can find one that's rail served here. Okay, I didn't select any that were rail served, but if it was rail served, there would be a little icon, and we think it looks more like a trolley, but it's supposed to be a train. All right, so we'll click include on a couple of these. And then if you want to send them to somebody, you just click on the share button, and it'll bring up the links here. You can select those and copy and paste into an email or a document, and that will take you directly to that property page and the site selection tool. You can export to Excel. It'll be, you have the choice of either the top 50 fields or all of the fields. The top 50 fields is basically what's on Virginia Scan with a few more thrown in. All fields is just that, all fields. You can email directly from the system. If you want to put in more than one email address, you just need to separate them with a semicolon. And then of course you can change your message, and the email address that's associated to your account will be used to send the email. So if you send it from here, if somebody responds, then it'll come back to your email address. And then the last option is to create a PDF report. So you just click on the Create PDF button, and it'll create a PDF of those properties. So, and whatever the photo you have selected as display order 1 is also the photo that will show up on the report. So it's very important that you only select one property there. And the other thing to note here is the contact should show up as whoever the local contact is for your locality or region. So if that doesn't show up, let us know and we can get that fixed for you. All right, I think the last thing is the My Virginia Scan. And there currently is not one associated with this test account that I am using, but I'll go ahead and create a test account. So we'll put in a site name, and we'll just call it Michelle Test. And then we'll give it name alias of Michelle. And then we're going to Select the primary contact, and that will be the contact that's going to show up on your My Virginia Scan site on the property details page for a contact. And then we're going to select our locality, and then once we're done, we'll hit save, and it was and that was created. So now if we needed to go in and change something, we can just click on edit, and then we can go in and make any changes that we need to make. The one thing that you don't ever want to change is this domain alias, because if you change that, then your site is not going to work, because this is what's used for the iframe that embeds it into your site. So, and whenever you create or modify a My Virginia Scan site, it'll send you an email with instructions for how to implement that. And I think that is pretty much all that I have. So, this contact support button down here, if you click on that, it will shoot an email to myself and John Loftus, and we'll respond back to you as quickly as we can. The other thing to note, I'm going to sign us out here just so I can show you that. If you don't remember your password, or if we set up an account for you and you don't log in before your temporary password expires, all you have to do is click on reset your password as long as you have an account in the system. If you enter your email address and hit reset, it'll send you an email with a temporary password, and then once you log in with that, it'll prompt you to change your password. And I think that is it for now. So please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.